Greetings and welcome back to another episode of, I guess this is either spare parts or a teardown video. I bought one of these dirt cheap. I won't say how cheap, but you can find a ton of them. They're bike lights, and I've already run it dead. The batteries are not they're replaceable. I've had a peek at this. So I wanted to see what's actually inside here. So I'm going to start, you can just peel this thing off here. And it lasted probably about 12 hours on a charge. But by the time it ended, it was down to almost so dim you couldn't see it. So I wanted to see how this thing's actually constructed. The key is, and I've ordered more of these, so I'll be able to show you later in another video if it's worth it, how to operate it. But basically, you just click on the top here, and maybe you can hear that. It's not switching on now, but I wanted to see what the switch looks like. It looks like it's got an RGB LED in there, maybe a 4-pin RGB LED. There's the cover off, and it's got two 2032 batteries in here, and it looks like a circuit board. So I'm just curious to see what this is going to end up looking like in the end. Let's see if we can pop out. There's one battery, and it looks like that's the other battery. That would make sense that they would be stacked on top of each other. Now, yep, the whole thing just pops right out. The circuit board is actually built to handle two batteries there. And it looks like it's just simply... Oh, wow, that's even simpler than I thought. Okay, let's see if I can move some stuff out of the way and zoom down so you can actually see what I'm looking at. Okay, simplest of all, it looks to me like there are two little dome switches here. So either side, so when you push this thing down, that's providing a switch signal. And it looks to me like there is a blob chip right here. It's actually a white blob. And that's going to an LED. Well, now this is interesting. It looks like it's a 2-pin LED, yet somehow it's able to flash. And when it flashes, it's flashing in what should be white. It's combining the red, the green, and the blue LED. But when it's not in flash mode... When it's not in flash mode, it's doing the red, green, blue, and then quickly red, green, blue, and then slow red, green, blue, that kind of thing. So that's just an interesting... I wonder if I can take this LED off and connect it to another battery to see what that can do. Meanwhile, if I wanted to, I could keep the circuit board with the LED on it. And like I said, I've ordered some more. And it looks like, yeah, it's literally just, when the batteries sit in there, there's this metal contact right here, which is going to go, I guess, to the negative side. If I remember right, they were stacked like this. Whoops, like that. And yeah, so that's kind of what we got here. I'm going to play with this a little bit, and if anything interesting happens, I'll come back. Okay, I did get something working here. It's a little weird, but what I ended up doing was soldering a couple of wires onto the positive and negative terminals, and this is the circuit board, and these are the terminals that were there. I've got a couple of, from those wires, I've got a couple of cables coming out to an adapter that I built that goes to a power connector, and that power connector goes to a cable that goes from 2.1 to USB. I've got it plugged into this particular power bank, and I had another power bank here that I tried. I'm going to try that one again now after playing with this a little bit. Let me see if I can't plug this in. This, by the way, is a power bank that I built in another video. I'll put that right up here somewhere. Now that I'm zoomed in, I guess it's right here. And let's see, we'll plug it in. No reaction yet. If I try to hit one button, I get a flash, and then it seems to shut itself off. This is the blob ship is still there. I haven't bypassed it. So it looks like what it's doing is, because the flash is so bright, it's going to draw too much power, and the power bank is allowing it to draw more power than the batteries would have. That's my theory anyway. So I think there's just some regulation in there, and it shuts itself down on overcurrent. So it's kind of hard to get it to do much more. Now I'm going to warn you, there's going to be some flashing lights coming up. Those were just minor bumps. So I'm going to try and get the colors going here. And that was 2 taps of the switch. So let's see if I can't. There we go. I have to like hold down one and hit the other twice. And so now you can see this gradual change of the light. So the question is, can I use this unit as a whole in another project? Or is this just going to be too complicated to do, and should I just pull the LED off of there? And I suspect that the LED itself, it's got to have 2 modes. It's only got 2 pins. So this is an interesting sort of thing to try and... Oh, wait a minute. What's it doing? I think the power bank is shut off. And it's dealing with what little bit of reserve it has. This is interesting. Notice that there's no blue. Blue is the hardest color. It requires the most current. So the red and the green are blinking, and whenever the blue is supposed to come on, it's not coming on. Somehow we're in a reduced power state here. Let me try that again with the other power bank. And then let's see if I can do this. Hold down one, hit the other twice. Nope. You can see how bright it is when it's just flashing. And this is why I think it's just resetting. You can see it's got some weird pattern to it. Or maybe I need to hold down the other one and... Huh. See, it keeps shutting itself off. I can't seem to get it to do it. So I'm going to do a little bit more exploring. This is turning into an interesting little spare parts, but I don't know if it's just spare parts. So I think I'm going to file it under spare parts, but let me do a little bit more experimenting. I want to see if those 2 switches are connected to each other, or if they're somehow independent, and it's making a decision based on whether both of them are... The blob chip is making some kind of logic decision based on whether they're both pressed at the same time. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going to take a look at. And a little bit of exploration later, what I've ended up doing... Oh, this is going to be a little hard to show you. I did discover that the, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. You know what? Let me throw a little bit more light this way. That might help. And then hopefully you can see that there are 2 pads here. I removed the dome switches, and I have now soldered in a switch, a better quality switch than a dome switch. And we're going to try it out with that. They do indeed. They're connected in parallel, so it doesn't matter which switch you hit, it's going to have the same effect. Put that in there. Try this one. That may be another issue, is the power bank and whether or not it has low current detection and shuts itself off. But we are now powered up, and it is freaking out. Interesting. Alright, let's see what happens when I flip a switch. I wonder if I bridged the switches here. So let me kill the power. Let me try the other power bank real quick. It's doing exactly the same thing. Now that would be probably really good if you're riding a bike, and, but it doesn't allow you to turn it off. So let's take a quick look and see if I can find a bridge here. That is not bridged. That might be bridged. Let's get the meter, put it up here. I'm not sure if this is going to end up in frame. So let's see. If I put that there, let's confirm that putting that there has not actually changed anything. Is it still freaking out? Yes, it is still freaking out. Okay. So now the question is whether or not when I do this, that's continuity. I'm going to check to see if there's continuity. Yeah, that's my problem. Unless the switch itself has the continuity. Did I mess that up? Oh, I can see it now. I can actually see where I screwed up. Alright, let me not do that with both leads. See if I can't clear that. Alright, let's do it a different way. We'll get the soldering iron. We'll pull this back just a bit. Okay, that's cleared. Okay, should not be shorted anymore. Shouldn't be. We'll plug it in. Not freaking out. Let's get rid of the meter, clean up a little bit. And now I can try and flip the switch that, as I was planning before. Interesting. So that's off. Every time I click it, I get the flash. I think it's still an overcurrent problem. So the solution to that is going to be adding a resistor in there and see if that helps to solve the problem. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Alright, I've put a 1K resistor in there. That should give me some clue on whether this is working or not. That's flashing awfully quickly, but maybe it was doing that before. But that's one click. Now the second click, yep, that was what it was. There's some kind of current sensing built in, and I think actually that's the battery bank shutting off. Although I can see that there's just a little bit of red light there. Try. Somehow that got the battery bank to turn back on. Let me try the other battery bank now. I'm not sure what the limits are on these battery banks, how many milliamps it has to draw before it decides that it's nothing connected. So we'll let that flash for a bit. It doesn't seem to be shutting itself off, so second. There we go, now we've got that running. It may not be as bright because I've got the 1K resistor on there, but I have proven that I can actually reuse this circuit board if I wanted to. And I got more of them coming, like I said. And I'm not going to list the... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think that's the power bank. But maybe I can reactivate it. That's off. And that's on, and that's going to be drawing more current. So it's got to be probably less than the 1K resistor. I'll have to experiment to figure that out, but I could do that later. What I was going to say is that the seller, well, I've bought from multiple sellers now. These are super duper cheap. What you want to do is look for bicycle light and auction and very low price. And then it's a question of who you get that's actually selling them at the moment. So yeah, that is now kicked off, and I think that's the power bank The other thing I can do is, I wonder if I can turn on the light for the power bank, cause it to draw some power. That's off. That's on. Well, anyway, that gives you a rough idea. If you want to find these and if you want to play with them, I can't guarantee that all the manufacturers are going to be the same. All the sellers are going to be selling from the same manufacturers, but they are dirt cheap, about as cheap as you could possibly get. And I just was having fun with auctions. Bought a few of these and wanted to play with them, wanted to see how they were constructed, and there you go. This is both a spare parts and a teardown video, so I'm going to call it spare parts because I don't have teardown videos yet. So, welcome to teardown videos, and thank you so much for watching.